You find yourself thinking about someone, and it's not just a passing feeling. It lingers, shows up in your thoughts regularly, sometimes in your dreams, even in your prayers. And you start to wonder, is this feeling something Allah placed in my heart? Or am I just caught up in my own emotions? Because when you're drawn to someone deeply, it's not always simple to know where it's coming from. Is it love? Is it a test? Is it a sign from Allah? Or just your desires dressing up attraction as destiny? Let's be honest. In today's culture where halal love is glorified and people are told to follow your heart, many slip into what is haram while believing it's something pure. But here's the reality. Not every emotion is divine, and not every longing is clean. However, sometimes yes. Allah does place love in your heart as part of His greater plan. So how can you tell the difference? That's exactly what we'll uncover in this video. 4 clear signs that what you're feeling might be a form of mercy from Allah, and not just a passing distraction from your own desires. Watch closely till the end, because many fall into serious mistakes by chasing love without reflection. But if you notice even one of these signs, it could mean your heart is not just being tempted, it's being guided. Sign 1. The feeling brings you nearer to Allah, not further away. You think about them. But oddly, it leads you to think of your prayers, your du'as, your relationship with Allah. You don't feel reckless or lost. You feel careful, mindful, and aware. You want to handle your emotions with dignity, not dive into them without limits. And that in itself is a powerful sign, because when a feeling is from the self, it often drags you away from Allah. You start excusing small sins. You tell yourself, we're just chatting. You delay your salah, caught up in messages. You stay up late, not to pray, but to talk. But when a feeling is truly from Allah, you'll see the opposite. You become more alert, more disciplined. You lower your gaze, not out of guilt, but out of honor. You make dua, not to ask for them, but to ask for clarity. You start thinking about marriage, not flirting. You focus more on who you're becoming than on how to impress them. It's like your heart is saying, Ya Allah, if this person is right for me, help me become the kind of person they deserve. That kind of mindset. It's not from the ego. It's a desire being refined by your remembrance of Allah. The Prophet said, truly, it is in the remembrance of Allah that hearts find rest. So if your feelings lead you to more dhikr, more Quran, more sincerity in action, that's not just emotion. That's your heart keeping Allah at the center, even as someone else enters your thoughts. But if this desire is making you avoid Allah, if it leaves your heart restless, not peaceful, then take a step back and ask, is this true love or just temptation dressed as something beautiful? Sign 2. Allah adjusts the timing, not to confuse you, but to guard you. You've probably experienced it. Everything feels like it's going smoothly, and then, all of a sudden, it slows down. The conversation fades. The energy shifts. Things were just starting to move forward, and then they stalled. And in that moment, you start doubting. Did I do something wrong? Why now, when I finally felt sure? But what if that delay wasn't a punishment? What if it was a form of divine protection? Because here's the part we often ignore. When a love is truly from Allah, the journey toward it may slow down, not speed up. Why? Because Allah doesn't just give you what you desire. He prepares your heart to hold it right. Maybe you're not ready yet, and rushing would damage what could have been beautiful. Maybe you still need time to strengthen your faith. maybe the other person isn't ready either. And if you push things now, the whole thing could collapse before it begins. When it's your desires leading you, you'll feel urgency. You'll want things immediately. You'll overlook red flags. You'll break your own limits and call it passion. But when Allah is guiding it, you'll feel peace even in the pauses. Not because it's painless, but because something inside still whispers, if this is written for me, nothing can stop it. If it's not, even my efforts won't make it mine. That's when your trust shifts. Not in your feelings, not in the other person, but in the one who controls every heart. The Prophet said, "What missed you was never meant for you, and what reached you was never going to miss." So if things slow down unexpectedly, if doors that once seemed open now feel gently closed, don't panic. Don't label it as rejection too soon. Maybe it's not an ending. Maybe it's a divine pause. Because in Islam, what is meant for you will come with dignity, not desperation. And sometimes, Allah holds things back not to take them away, but to soften your heart enough to receive it with patience and barakah when the time is right. Sign 3. You've never worried about losing your principles until they came into your life. Before this person appeared, you guarded your boundaries well. You stayed away from unnecessary talk, you protected your gaze, and you didn't let anyone close to your heart easily. But something about this person changed that. Suddenly, you became more alert with yourself, not because you were weak, but because you realized how delicate your heart can be. You didn't expect to feel this way, but now you're making extra du'as, tightening your limits, and begging Allah to shield you from your own desires. And you're not doing it out of shame. You're doing it out of respect and fear of losing your connection with Allah. That shift inside, that heightened self-awareness, could mean this feeling isn't ordinary. It's not just emotional. It has a spiritual weight, and it's pushing you to reconnect with your Lord. Because let's be real, when feelings come from the Nafs, you get careless. You jump into them, you blur lines, you tell yourself you'll fix it later. But when the feeling is a test from Allah, it humbles you. You say, "Ya Allah, don't let this love cost me my hereafter." You become more concerned about your soul than winning their heart. You avoid sin, not because others are watching, but because you fear disappointing Allah. That kind of fear, that's not infatuation. That's faith. It's proof that Allah is still watching over your heart, even when you're wrestling with powerful emotions. The Prophet said, "Whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better." So if you're holding yourself back, praying for halal or for release, and not playing with emotions, yours or theirs, then that's real taqwa. And taqwa isn't weakness. It's a sign that maybe, just maybe, Allah is shaping this feeling into something sacred. Sign 4. You asked Allah to remove it, but He didn't, and now it's changing you. You've cried in sujood, asking Allah, "If this isn't good for me, take it away." You tried to cut off the thoughts. You told yourself it's just temptation, just your emotions tricking you. But time passed. Days turned to weeks, weeks into months. And still, the feeling didn't fade. But something unexpected happened. You didn't stay stuck in longing. You started to grow. You began praying with deeper focus. You became more mindful of your speech. You pulled back from what was haram. You made tawbah even for things you once ignored. And slowly, what felt like just a crush became a mirror, reflecting parts of you that needed healing. It made you clean your heart, purify your intentions, and strengthen your bond with Allah. And you still don't fully understand why it's still there. Why the feeling comes back, stronger each time you try to push it away. Maybe it's not meant to disappear. Maybe it's meant to transform you. Maybe Allah planted it in your heart, not to fulfill it immediately, but to guide you with it. Because sometimes, what we call a distraction is actually a tool Allah uses to realign our souls. So if this desire has led you to pray istikhara sincerely, to watch your character, to submit to Allah regardless of the outcome, then the feeling has already fulfilled a purpose. Whether that person becomes part of your life or not, the journey back to Allah through this feeling was never wasted. The Prophet said, "Be mindful of Allah, and He will direct your heart." So maybe the reason the feeling hasn't left is because Allah is still using it. Not to pull you toward them, but to shape you into someone who can love for the sake of Allah, not for the sake of the ego. My dear brothers and sisters, feeling something for someone isn't haram. Acting on it without boundaries is. And this is where many get lost. Love, desire, and emotion are part of being human. But what separates a believer is how we respond to those emotions when they show up. Because sometimes Allah places love in your heart as a test, sometimes as a blessing, and often as a means to pull you back toward Him. So ask yourself sincerely, has this emotion brought me closer to Allah? Has it made me guard my modesty? Has it made me fear sin more? Has it made me seek answers through prayer instead of chasing someone blindly? If yes, then maybe what you're feeling is more than a fleeting desire. Maybe it's the beginning of a transformation. But remember this too, even if you never end up with them, even if it was never meant to be in this world, you still gained something priceless. You returned to Allah through it. And that kind of love, that awakening, is never a waste. And if your heart is still unsure, still aching, then fall into sujood and say, Ya Allah, if this person is written for me, make it easy and pure. But if they're not, remove them from my heart gently. Replace this feeling with something better, and make me love what you've destined for me. If this message touched your heart in any way, drop a comment below. Ya Allah, purify my heart and guide my desires. Your words might bring peace to someone else who's battling the same silent storm tonight. And if this brought you clarity, liking and subscribing is free. But it helps us reach more hearts that are quietly struggling too. May Allah purify your intentions, protect your emotions, and grant you a love that draws you closer to Him in this world and the next. Ameen.